Good morning from the brisk, chilly northern plains here in Fargo, North Dakota, where it is a balmy -10 degrees this morning. If you know anything about farmers or people in the farm community, commentary quickly and frequently gravitates towards the current weather, and I'm no different. And so I apologize, and yet I don't apologize for what is to be many pointless weather comments on these daily videos that likely aren't applicable to most of you because you're scattered all around North America or all around the world. So anyway, today just wanted to share with you a couple quick stories. One, I was at the grocery store last night and I walked by the natural food section and I just glanced over and saw that hummus was on sale. Hummus is made with what is commonly known as garbanzo beans, which are commonly referred in farm country as chickpeas. My uncle raises some chickpeas along with durum, spring wheat, yellow peas, lentils in northwestern North Dakota. He called me a couple years ago and told me that a buyer called him and offered him a price for his chickpeas that was equivalent to double what his costs into the crop were. The only thing was he had never forward contracted in his life, and there was still about 4 to 6 weeks of the growing season left. And so I thought he was calling for reassurance for me to tell him, it's all right, you did a good thing, you forward contracted, you have crop insurance, and the contract itself has an act of God clause. And on top of it, he's at the stage of his farming career where he's paid off a lot of debt and built up a pretty solid financial moat around his farm. But no, that's not what he was calling for. He was calling to tell me that he didn't take advantage of this offer because he pointed out 2 years in the last 30 where he wasn't able to get the crop off. And I told him, instead of planning for the 1 in 15 scenario, let's plan it for the 14 out of 15 scenario and make a decision that is simply focused on your bottom line. Nobody knew where the prices of chickpeas were going to go then, and if I remember correctly, they actually went up about another 20% before finally correcting. So, and I think he sold after the price had gone up again. So, in hindsight, him not forward contracting, turned out to be beneficial. But I really hate to fixate on that. There's a big value in taking uncertainty out of the financial equation, and that's something that he just necessarily wasn't really thinking about. So don't plan on the outlier -1 in 15 scenario, or don't fixate on that. Understand the consequences if that happens again and what you can do to mitigate those consequences. So that rolls into another story. I had, in the startup world, starting a small business like we're doing here, it's not all gumdrops and lollipops. I had somebody send me a message and they said, I really envy the stage that your business is at. And I said, well, it's fun and exciting and there's a lot of potential. It isn't all gumdrops and lollipops. So we had a customer who signed up last January. He sent me a note and said he wasn't going to be renewing. We've renewed the vast majority of our first accounts that signed up in last fall, with the majority of them in last December. But inevitably, just starting up, there's going to be some people that necessarily aren't getting the value that we want out of the system, and I kind of really, I took it a little hard. This is something I built from the ground up, and so I was, talking to the guys on the team and saying, what can we do? What can we do? Let's parachute in and make these big, what changes can we make? And I had to realize my own advice, and you can't fixate on the 1 in 30, 1 in 40 guys that just for whatever reason don't want to invest the time in getting value out of our software program. We need to really focus on the majority of the users that are using the software and getting a lot of benefit from it. What can we do from them? What can we do for them to allow them to get even more value and more benefits out of the software? And so I kind of needed to take a drink of my own Kool-Aid and realize that, we're not going to keep every single customer. So rather than fixating on some new expensive edge case feature that maybe would have kept that guy engaged, let's really work on making our product the best product possible for the users who have the time and the systems in place to better track their numbers. So with that said, those are my 2 little anecdotes today on don't fixating on these super outlier, the low probability events, and focus on preparing to insulate yourself from those, but at the same time don't let them distract you from making sound business decisions. So have a great Friday, and we will talk to you soon. Thank you.